Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into the Green Party platform. We're going to look at its vision for, well, rescuing American democracy, for empowering local communities, and for totally reshaping America's role on the world stage. So, what's their big idea? Let's get into it. This one sentence really gets right to the heart of it. It's the platform's core diagnosis of what's wrong. The argument here is that the whole American experiment in democracy isn't just facing a few bumps in the road, it's actually eroding. And why? Because of one key thing, a huge drop in citizen participation. So, what's causing this erosion? According to the platform, it really boils down to one main culprit, this massive concentration of wealth and corporate power. The idea is that this has just fundamentally weakened the entire democratic process. To put it plainly, the platform's argument is that the American people, who are supposed to be the true owners of the country, have basically lost control. That control has been handed over to powerful, moneyed interests. And the result? You get this widespread citizen alienation and apathy, this feeling that your voice just doesn't matter anymore. And that really sets the stage for all the solutions they propose. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the cure? Well, the platform argues that you have to start by completely rewriting the rules of our political system. And that begins with the most fundamental thing of all: how we vote. The platform really points a finger at this system right here, the winner-take-all system. Think about it. In an election like this, if your candidate doesn't get the most votes, your vote, well, it essentially vanishes. The argument is that this creates a ton of wasted votes. It pretty much forces voters to choose between only two major parties. And ultimately, it just discourages people from even bothering to show up. And this is the platform's big alternative. It's called proportional representation. With this system, if a party gets, say, 15% of the vote, they get roughly 15% of the seats in the legislature. The whole point is to make every single vote count and to create a government that actually reflects all the different views of the population. Well, what's really fascinating here is the side-by-side comparison of the outcomes. The platform is arguing that switching to proportional representation isn't just some tiny procedural change. They believe it would lead to a much more diverse, multi-party system, a system where gerrymandering has way less of an impact, and, as they see it, where more women and minorities actually get elected. And let me tell you, the vision for reform here is, well, it's huge. This isn't just about tweaking how we count votes. We're talking about a fundamental reshaping of the government itself. I mean, everything from getting rid of the Electoral College to abolishing the U.S. Senate entirely, and even making the House of Representatives much, much larger. But here's a really crucial pivot in the platform's logic. They say that even if you have the fairest voting system in the world, democracy still can't really work as long as elections can basically be bought. And that brings us to the next big piece of the puzzle: campaign finance reform. So the platform puts forward this pretty bold three-step strategy to get private money out of politics once and for all. Step 1, full public financing for every election. Step 2, amend the actual Constitution to make it crystal clear that money is not speech and corporations are not people. And Step 3, create a powerful new watchdog agency to make sure these new rules actually have some teeth. Now, the platform's vision for a healthier democracy, it doesn't just stop at the ballot box. The argument is that to really empower citizens, you have to look beyond just elections and into the very fabric of our daily lives and our communities. This is that classic idea, right? Think globally, act locally. The platform argues that having strong, engaged communities at the local level is the single most powerful defense against the influence of faraway corporations and centralized power. It's all about building democracy from the ground up. So how do you actually empower a community? The platform's answer is really clear. You have to make sure people have access to good, reliable information. The argument goes that the current situation, where just a handful of giant corporations own most of the media, is a direct threat to having an informed citizenship, and, by extension, a threat to democracy itself. So, to tackle this, the platform basically proposes a whole toolbox of solutions. We're talking about using antitrust laws to break up these massive media conglomerates, bringing back something called the Fairness Doctrine to require balanced coverage, and really boosting public funding for things like community radio and nonprofit news. All right, so we've seen how the platform wants to decentralize power here at home. The really crucial next step is seeing how those exact same principles, democracy, fairness, cooperation, get applied to foreign policy. And what the platform argues for is a really radical shift in how America acts on the world stage. What you're seeing here is a fundamental move away from unilateral military action. The platform is advocating for ending the policy of preemptive war. from working strictly within the rules of international law and the UN, and for actively pursuing global disarmament, starting with the complete abolition of all nuclear weapons. And if you want one number that just sums up the scale of this commitment, here it is. The platform calls for cutting the U.S. defense budget by at least half. The goal, they state, is to reinvest those hundreds of billions of dollars back into domestic needs, and to fundamentally shift foreign policy away from military intervention and towards peaceful diplomacy. So ultimately, what the platform does is completely redefine national security. It argues that true, lasting security isn't something you get through military superiority. Instead, it comes from building a more just, more cooperative, and more ecologically sustainable world for everybody. And all of this brings us to the final powerful question that the platform itself leaves us with. In our modern world, with all its corporate influence, media consolidation, and global conflict, what does it actually mean to have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people? That's the central challenge this platform puts on the table.